I love me some Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was super excited to check this one out. Yeah, I got a lot to talk about with this one. So yeah, let's jump into the review right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome back today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing this series, Mr. Corman, which is going to be releasing on Apple TV Plus August 6th. 2 episodes are going to drop that Friday, and then a new episode will drop each and every following Friday. It's 10 episodes. They're about 30 minutes each. And this film stars, produced, was written, directed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So, with this being a passion project by him, obviously, because whenever you're wearing that many hats, you're insane or you're deeply in love, and that's what I'm going to go at with that. Excuse me for that sound real quick. But yeah, so this series, I wanted to check it out because I've been loving a lot of the content that Apple TV Plus has been putting out. Obviously, as I said, I'm a huge fan of Joseph. And when I seen the trailer, I was like, yo, okay, let me see if that's what's going on with that. And I think the concept also is easily relatable about a person who just feels like he's just having all forms of just bad luck. Not even bad luck, just lack of luck. Because he feels like with luck, then he will be able to achieve a lot of the things that he wants to do in life. So he plays this character, Josh Corman, who is an artist. He even has the itch at times to want to get back into it, either just because he sees instruments and he's just like, that's what I wanted my life to be, or he meets or encounters people of his past when he used to play, but nonetheless, he's a 5th grade teacher right now in the public school, and that's also a struggle because 5th graders we're all been 5th graders, are a little bit of a challenge, especially when somebody who's kind of down on their luck. So here's the thing. This film uses some really interesting yet abstract noises and like really cool visuals to go with that too. And some of them feels like they're like kind of straight out of the comics, that comic book page script style of visuals. But then there's something that's reoccurring, and it's this loud ringing bell noise. And it took me a while to really understand what that meant to Josh, because it was something clearly affecting him, clearly something triggered by him, and obviously that's only happening with him, and it seems to be connected to his emotional and mental triggers. And again, because of his struggle here, he's no longer with his ex-fiancé who's moved out. He again is a 5th grade teacher. He has a roommate, and the roommate dynamic is also interesting as well. And it's just a sense of just being lonely and like all sorts of things. I mean, he's getting hit in all directions with this, and I'm starting to think. I started to think like, what does this bell? What is this symbolic for? But yeah, I think it's like the trigger of when he's having some form of a mental breakdown or some form of a mental trigger attached to other emotions, because yeah, he's dealing with some deep-rooted trauma, and his emotions have not been properly dealt with, as you can see. But even with the trailer being, I think the trailer was really convincing. It wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be, and I really wanted this to be funny. And I think too that the film had, even when it comes down to that dark humor, I also think it didn't really succeed in that as well too. So like, I think I overly wanted this to be more funnier than what it was. And I also thought, again, I thought the trailer was really convincing that that's the route that it was going to go, but it wasn't. And then when you consider that this is also exploring mental health and trauma and all that other stuff, I think that's also like a really hard like floor to dance on, because you need a really good balance. And then that's where I say this is where it succeeds. It succeeds in a really spiral shaped like area to be funny, but to also relay a message. But the dialogue in this, so Joseph Gordon-Levitt really delivers in his performance, as you would expect, with his foolishness. I mean, he's clearly the brightest spot of this, but his awkwardness, his dialogue, his mannerisms, and like even with him just kind of even being in the background in certain scenes, you'll just see him like emote in a way that you just kind of just chuckle, because like even with him being in the back, he still presents himself to be in the front. So I love this character, and I love this performance in this, because that's truly without that, I don't know how I would feel about this film. And then another thing too, I really don't know, is like, what was the audience for this? Because this was kind of all over the place in regards to who this was directed to. Yeah, it's just really hard. I don't even have anything else to add to that. Like, I just don't really know who the audience for this series was for. But yeah, I think people will be able to relate because of the stress triggers and everybody who deals with anxiety. And then the story itself, almost the revelation of this character here, is also a very interesting concept. So it's one that I think, if you really do appreciate Joseph, you'll stick around, because I feel like it had a bumpy start, but they're short episodes, and I think if you continue to stay invested, that it does have a good payoff. Not one of my favorite shows, definitely expected this to be a lot better, but definitely was one where I needed to see how this was all going to play out. And especially when you get about mid-season is when things start to unfold in a way that you really don't predict, and you kind of want to see how this all comes around. So yeah, this is with a good level of confidence from what Apple TV has put out. I wanted to stick around with it even through the rough patches to see how this paid off, and I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. But yeah, again, this is Mr. Corman. This again will be on Apple TV Plus August 6th, dropping 2 episodes that Friday, and then a new episode each and every following week. Folks, jump in the comments, let me know your thought about this, and as always, stay tuned, because we got more reviews coming very soon.